Isaiah is prophesying about the future age of salvation. And he's saying something very remarkable. He's describing a kind of new exodus. He's describing a time of revitalization of creation too. He's saying the very creation itself, the wilderness, the desert, the trees, the flowers, the mountains, they're all going to rejoice. Why? Because God is coming. Because the Lord is coming. And when God comes, the eyes of the blind will be opened, the ears of the deaf are unstopped, and the lame man shall leap, and the mute shall speak. Now, it's hard to overestimate the significance of that passage. Because when John asked Jesus, "Are you the one who is to come?" he could have said, well, look at this prophecy of the coming of the Messiah, right? But in this case, he front loads, he emphasizes, go back to Isaiah 35, the prophecy of the coming of God himself. And these are the signs of God's coming, these miracles of the blind seeing and the lame walking and the deaf hearing. Now, if you have any doubt about that, you might notice something. You might notice that Jesus adds something. He says that the lepers are going to be cleansed and that the dead will be raised. Now, that's not in Isaiah 35. So why does Jesus say it? Well, if you go back to the Old Testament, you'll recall that in the book of Kings, 2 Kings chapter 5, there's a story of the prophet Elisha being asked to heal Naaman, who was a leper. And when the leper comes and sends a messenger to ask Elisha to heal him, Elisha says, "Who am I? Am I God that I could heal a man with leprosy?" So the assumption was there are some miracles that only God himself could do, right? So when Jesus says the lepers are healed, that's another suggestion that he's responding to John's statement by pointing not just to his identity as the Messiah, but his identity as the divine Messiah, as the God-man. Same thing's true about when he adds another line. He says, another sign will be that the dead are raised up. There, he's alluding to Isaiah chapter 26. I'm not going to read the passage, so you can go back and look at it. In Isaiah chapter 26 is one of the two occasions in the Old Testament we have any reference to the resurrection of the dead. And when Isaiah says that the dead will be raised, if you read the context, guess when the dead are raised? When Yahweh comes, when God comes, the dead are going to be raised. So here Jesus says that as another criterion, right? And then last but certainly not least, there is one allusion to a prophecy of the Messiah. It's when Jesus says the poor have good news preached to them. So Isaiah, that's a prophecy that alludes to Isaiah chapter 61. I won't read that to you, but it's basically the coming, it's a very famous text that says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to preach good news to the captives and to the poor." So in a sense, then, Jesus is taking these two sets of prophecies, the prophecies of the coming of God and the prophecy of the coming of the Messiah, and fusing them into one. So that John's question has a double answer. Are you the one who is to come? Meaning, are you the Messiah? Well, look at what I've done. I preach good news to the poor. But are you more than the Messiah? Are you the one who is to come, meaning the Lord who is to come? Well, look at what I've done. The lame walk, the blind see, the mute speak, lepers are cleansed, and the dead raised. You figure it out. That's what Jesus is saying. So he's throwing the question back on them. And he's also reminding them, blessed is anyone who takes no offense at me. Now, why would he have to add that caveat? Why should anyone be offended by the coming of the Messiah? The Messiah is just the anointed king of Israel. But if Jesus is saying he's not only the Messiah, he's also the divine Son of God. He's God come in person. Then there are going to be a lot of people who take offense at that. In fact, that's what he's going to be executed for under the charge of blasphemy. So this is a powerful, powerful moment. In a sense, on the third Sunday of Advent, what we're getting is one of the first revelations of the divinity of Jesus in his answer to John the Baptist.